The bridge of silent echoes, the staircase of shadow and light led them into a cavern so vast it seemed to hold the memory of creation itself. The ceiling arched like the inside of a hollow star, studded with orbs of silver fire that pulsed in rhythm with their footsteps. A soft hum filled the air, the sound of 1,000 voices speaking without words. The mist at their feet glowed faintly, curling around their legs like a living thing, whispering secrets that vanished the moment they tried to listen. Jack stopped and stared at the path ahead. It wasn't a bridge, not exactly, more like a string of floating mirrors stretched across the abyss. Each mirror reflected not only their bodies but their souls, revealing emotions too raw to hide. He saw himself standing on the edge of his own fears, the reflection of a boy who had failed too often. His hands clenched at the fragment. "I don't like this place," he muttered. "This is the Bridge of Silent Echoes," Prometheus said quietly. "It shows us the truths we refuse to face. Every step forward demands a price." Mara's voice was calm, though her eyes shimmered with tension. "We cannot turn back now. We must cross, no matter what we see." They stepped onto the first mirror. Instantly, the world shattered into soundless visions. Jack was back in the ruins of his childhood home, hearing the cries he hadn't been able to stop. Mara stood among ancient tombs, faces of those she'd sworn to protect turning away from her in silence. Prometheus faced a library of burned tomes, each a memory erased from history. The mirrors did not judge, but their reflections carried a weight heavier than stone. Jack faltered, his breath catching. "I can't." "Yes, you can," Mara said firmly. Her hand touched his shoulder. "The bridge doesn't demand perfection. It demands acceptance. Don't fight what it shows you." Jack closed his eyes, forcing himself to breathe. "I failed them. I failed everyone." Prometheus' voice was soft but strong. "Failure is not the end of the story. Recognition is strength. Courage is moving forward even when the echoes tell you to stop." With each step, the bridge became narrower. The abyss below churned with shadowy shapes, whispering names they couldn't quite catch. The mist rose higher, swirling around their ankles, and the mirrors beneath them rippled like water. Mara's reflection showed her younger self, proud and unscarred, but surrounded by decisions she hadn't been ready to make. She felt a pang of regret, but she whispered, "I chose this path. I walk it still." The mirror pulsed with light, solidifying beneath her. Jack's vision shifted, showing him a future where he ran from every fight, leaving his companions behind. His heart pounded, but he stepped forward, whispering, "I won't be that man." The fragment in his hand flared, casting ripples of silver light that steadied the bridge. Prometheus' steps were silent, but his face betrayed pain as he saw every forgotten name he'd ever spoken flicker in the air like dying stars. He whispered each name again, his voice trembling but unwavering, weaving them into the silver glow around him. The abyss quieted, its whispers fading into a solemn hum. Halfway across, the bridge trembled violently. The mirrors shattered, reforming into shards of shadow that rose into the air, swirling together into a towering figure cloaked in darkness. Its face was a void, but within that void shimmered every memory they had tried to bury. Jack gripped the fragment tightly. "It's us. It's everything we're afraid to face. Not a monster," Mara said, stepping forward, her cane glowing bright blue. "A test." The creature lunged, but Prometheus thrust the fragment forward. Light erupted, revealing countless glowing threads connecting the three of them to their reflections. "Together," he said firmly. "That's how we survive." They moved as one, Jack striking with courage born from his mistakes, Mara weaving protective arcs of light, and Prometheus channeling the power of remembrance. Each attack unraveled part of the creature until it dissolved back into mist, leaving only a path of glowing mirrors ahead. The bridge solidified, shimmering like liquid silver. They had faced the echoes of their souls and passed Dodd at the far end. A door of living light awaited, pulsing in rhythm with their heartbeats. Beyond it, they sensed not just danger but destiny. The door pulsed softly, as though it had its own heartbeat, its glow cascading across the chamber like ripples on water. Jack, Mara, and Prometheus stood before it, their breaths heavy from the confrontation on the bridge. The mist around them had stilled, and the whispers that once filled the chamber had faded into an almost reverent silence. Jack glanced at the glowing barrier. It feels like it's alive, like it's deciding whether to let us through or not. Promethy nodded, his expression solemn. This is no mere threshold. It is a gate of consciousness. It listens, it weighs, and it judges. To pass, we must prove not only courage, but intent. The passage protects what lies beyond with every ounce of its will. Mara stepped closer, raising her cane. The blue light at its tip merged briefly with the soft glow of the door. She flinched, pulling back slightly. It knows us. It knows every choice we've made, every failure, every secret we hold. Jack crossed his arms. Then it already knows I'm not perfect. That's not news. Promethe's lips curved faintly. Imperfection is not the test. Honesty is. The fragment in his hand pulsed, and the door responded with a slow, rhythmic hum. With a deep breath, Promethy placed the fragment against the glowing surface. Silver light spread outward in fractal patterns like frost on glass until the door split open with a soft sigh. Beyond was a corridor of impossible design. The walls appeared to be woven from strands of silver and black, shifting in constant motion like a tapestry alive with memory. Each strand shimmered with moving images, faces, landscapes, storms, laughter, and grief, all moments from countless lives. The floor was glassy and reflective, yet warm to the touch, as though energy flowed directly beneath it. Jack peered into one of the glowing threads. A face he recognized flickered there, a woman he had once promised to protect but hadn't been able to save. He reached out instinctively, but Mara grabbed his arm. "Don't," she said sharply. "The passage is temptation as much as trial. It shows what we crave and what we fear. Touching it may pull you into memory forever." Jack swallowed hard and nodded. Noted, no touching creepy glowing threads of destiny. They moved forward cautiously. The corridor twisted gently, leading them to a grand hall unlike anything they'd seen before. It was circular, with a domed ceiling that reflected starlight, though there was no sky. At the center of the room stood a massive pedestal carved from black stone, its surface inlaid with glowing silver runes. Hovering above it was a single object, a key forged entirely of light, rotating slowly in the air. "The key of continuance," Promethy whispered, awe in his voice. "I never thought I'd see it." Jack raised an eyebrow. "So, that thing will get us out of this nightmare, right?" Promethy shook his head. "No. This key doesn't open a door. It unlocks the heart of the passage itself. With it, we may go deeper than any mortal has ever gone. But taking it will awaken the final trial." Mara's grip on her cane tightened. "We've come this far. Whatever trial awaits, we're ready." Promethy met her gaze. "Courageous words. Let's hope they're true." As they stepped closer to the pedestal, the room began to hum with energy. The walls shimmered, the strands of memory weaving faster, almost frantic. Shadows crept along the edges of the hall, forming humanoid silhouettes with hollow faces. Jack raised the fragment. "Let me guess, they're not here to welcome us with tea." "No," Promethy said calmly. "They're keepers, echoes of those who failed the trial before us. They are drawn to those who disturb the key." The first keeper lunged forward, its form stretching unnaturally, claws of shadow reaching for Jack. He swung the fragment, sending a blast of silver light that dissolved the creature instantly. But more keepers emerged from the strands of memory, their hollow forms surrounding the group. Mara slammed her cane into the ground, releasing a wave of blue light that pushed them back momentarily. "We're surrounded." Promethy stepped onto the pedestal, reaching for the key of continuance. The moment his hand touched its glowing surface, the entire hall convulsed. The ceiling dissolved, revealing a sky of swirling stars and a void that stretched endlessly. The walls unraveled, and the keepers multiplied, their hollow faces screaming silently. Jack shouted over the chaos. "This was your plan." Promethe's voice was steady. "Trust me." He raised the key high, and a surge of light burst outward. The keepers froze, their forms unraveling into threads of shadow that dissolved into the void. The hall began to shift again, reassembling itself. The pedestal sank into the floor, and a new door appeared on the far wall, this one darker, carved with intricate runes that pulsed with crimson light. Promethy lowered the key, his expression grave. This is the true threshold. Beyond this lies the Chamber of Convergence. The passage's power, its origin, and its final guardian reside there. Jack exhaled shakily. And I'm guessing it's not going to roll out a welcome mat. Mara smiled faintly. No, but it's why we're here. They stood together before the crimson-lit door, feeling its power radiate like heat from a forge. The journey had led them through shadows, memories, and illusions. But this was something more, a place where every choice they had made would be weighed. Promethy looked at them both, the key glowing in his hand. Once we enter, there will be no turning back. Whatever happens, we must stay together. The crimson-lit door groaned open, not swinging on hinges but unraveling itself thread by thread as though it were part of a great woven tapestry being carefully undone. Beyond lay a vast chamber unlike any they had seen before, a cathedral of shadow and starlight. Its ceiling arched into infinity, a swirling sky contained within walls of living stone. And its floor was a massive mosaic of interlocking sigils that glimmered faintly like embers in fading firelight. In the very center of the chamber floated a colossal sphere of light, its surface rippling with shifting constellations. It pulsed like a slow, steady heartbeat, casting long shadows that danced across the mosaic. Jack stopped in his tracks, awestruck. It's alive. Promethy nodded solemnly. The heart of the passage. This is where every path converges, where every choice and memory bleeds together into eternity. Mara's hand tightened around her cane as she scanned the chamber. If this is the heart, where is the guardian? The answer came in a low, resonant hum that reverberated through their bones. From the edges of the chamber, shadows began to peel themselves away from the walls, gathering into a singular form. It grew taller, broader, until it towered above them, a figure clad in tattered robes made of starlight and darkness. Where its face should have been was a smooth, reflective mask that shifted constantly, showing fragments of memories: Jack's childhood home, Mara's silent failures, Promethe's centuries of regret. The sentinel, Promethy murmured. It guards the key's power, and judges all who would wield it. The sentinel raised a hand, and the air thickened as if the chamber itself was resisting their presence. The shifting mask turned toward Jack, and he felt his breath catch. He was staring at his own reflection, only colder, older, a man burdened by choices that broke him. Jack, Mara said softly, sensing his hesitation. It's showing you what you fear becoming. I can't look at it, Jack whispered, his hands trembling. The fragment pulsed in his grip as if urging him to hold steady. Promethy stepped forward. The sentinel is not evil. It is truth given form. It reflects what you carry inside. The sentinel moved, its steps silent but earth-shaking. With each step, fragments of memory rained down from the air like shards of glass, scattering visions of past choices and future possibilities. One shard struck Jack's shoulder, and for an instant he felt himself torn from the chamber, standing instead in a future where he was utterly alone, holding a broken fragment. The weight of it nearly crushed him. No. Jack roared, slashing through the vision with a burst of light from the fragment. That's not me. The sentinel tilted its head, almost curiously. Before turning toward Mara, her reflection stared back at her, cold, unyielding. A woman who had chosen duty over everything else. You abandoned them, the reflection hissed in her mind. You sacrificed too much. You let them all die. Mara gritted her teeth, gripping her cane so tightly her knuckles turned white. I made choices, she said aloud, her voice steady. I won't run from them. Not now. She struck the cane against the floor, releasing a pulse of azure light that shattered the image. Promethe's turn came last. The sentinel's mask shifted again, showing him the endless halls of forgotten names he had guarded, the countless lives erased from history. You're nothing but a grave keeper, a voice whispered. You remember what no one cares to. You keep secrets no one will ever value. You have no place in this world. Promethe's face softened, but his eyes glimmered with quiet defiance. I'm what I choose to be. Memory is not a burden, it is a torch. and I carry it willingly." He raised the key of continuance, and a surge of golden light filled the chamber, meeting the sentinel's shadow. The creature recoiled, but it didn't fall. Instead, its mask cracked, revealing dozens of shifting faces beneath a mosaic of every soul who had ever failed to pass this chamber. Their cries filled the room, not as sound but as emotion, despair, regret, longing. Jack, Mara, and Promethy stood together, forming a triangle around the sentinel. "We do this together," Jack said firmly. The sentinel lunged, its shadowy arms stretching like whips. Jack ducked and swung the fragment, cutting through one tendril, while Mara deflected another with a sweeping arc of blue energy. Promethy advanced steadily, the key's light burning brighter with each step. As they fought, the chamber itself began to shift. The mosaic floor glowed brighter, forming a spiral pattern that pulsed like a living heartbeat. The sphere at the center of the chamber responded, its light intensifying until the entire space felt like the inside of a star. "Hold it off," Promethy shouted. He lifted the key and pointed it toward the sphere. "The sentinel is bound to the heart. If I can awaken it, we may gain control of this realm." "Just hurry," Jack yelled, blocking another strike. His body trembled with exhaustion, but the fragment seemed to guide his movements, slashing with precision and emitting blasts of energy that tore through shadow. Mara planted herself between Jack and the sentinel, her cane glowing fiercely. "Go, Promethy. We'll keep it busy." Promethy reached the sphere and pressed the key into its surface. The sphere flared, blinding them momentarily. The sentinel let out a soundless scream, its form fracturing as streams of light pierced its shadowy body, but instead of vanishing, it split into countless fragments, each one darting into the walls, merging with the glowing threads that surrounded the chamber. The air grew calm, and the oppressive weight lifted. Promethy turned, his face illuminated by the sphere's glow. "We've done it. The heart is awake." Jack collapsed onto one knee, panting. "Great. Now what?" The sphere shifted, revealing a swirling portal at its core, a gateway of light and shadow intertwined. Mara approached slowly, on her expression. "This isn't the end, is it?" Promethy shook his head, his voice steady. "No. This is the true beginning. Beyond this lies the origin of the passage, and the one who wrote all names into its threads." Jack stood, gripping the fragment tightly. "Then let's not waste time." Together, they stepped toward the glowing portal as the chamber hummed softly. As if watching them with infinite patience, the glowing portal rippled like water disturbed by an unseen wind, its light flickering between gold and shadow, as though uncertain whether to welcome or reject them. The hum of the chamber grew louder, resonating deep in their bones. Every thread of silver and black woven into the walls quivered, carrying whispers of forgotten voices that murmured in 1,000 tongues. Jack hesitated at the threshold. "Feels like this thing knows I'm here." Promethy's gaze was fixed on the portal. "It does. The passage knows all who walk its halls. It remembers everything, every thought, every regret, every victory. Crossing this threshold means placing your soul in its hands." Mara stepped closer, her cane glowing faintly blue. "We've come this far. Whatever lies beyond, we face it together." The three of them stepped through, and the world shifted. They emerged into a realm that defied all sense of reality. The ground beneath their feet was made of swirling constellations, as though they were walking on the night sky itself. Above them, towering pillars of luminous crystal stretched into infinity, their surfaces alive with streams of glowing script names written in every language ever spoken. Drifting upward like fireflies. In the center of this cosmic expanse stood a throne, carved from obsidian and silver, surrounded by a spiral of radiant threads. Seated upon it was a figure cloaked in robes that shimmered like molten ink. Their face was hidden behind a mask of white porcelain, smooth and featureless except for a single crack that glowed faintly with golden light. Jack froze. "Is that?" Promethy nodded solemnly. "The one who writes. The keeper of all names, the passage's creator." The masked figure rose slowly, their robes flowing like liquid shadow. When they spoke, their voice was layered, as if 1,000 voices spoke in unison. "Promethy, They intoned, their voice neither kind nor cruel, only vast. "The Watcher of Names, you have left your post," Promethy knelt, bowing his head. "I seek guidance." The passage trembles. The threads are fraying. Something is coming that even you cannot control. The figure tilted their head. "I control nothing. I only write." They extended a hand, and the glowing threads around the throne stirred, weaving together images of cities burning, stars collapsing, and rivers of time unraveling. The world beyond this realm is in motion. What is broken cannot be undone. Jack stepped forward, gripping the fragment tightly. "Then why are we here? Why give us this power if everything's already decided?" The figure turned their mask toward him. "Decided? No. Written, but every name is written twice, once for who they are and once for who they might yet be. The choice is not mine, mortal. It has always been yours." Mara frowned, her cane glowing brighter. "Then tell us how to stop what's coming." The figure descended from the throne, each step sending ripples through the starry floor. "To stop it, you must understand it." The fraying of the threads began when a name was erased, a name too powerful, too dangerous to exist. And yet, erased it was. Now the passage suffers. The balance breaks. Promethe's expression darkened. "Erased? That's impossible. No name has ever been fully destroyed, and yet," the figure said. Raising a hand, "Look," the threads parted, revealing a gaping void where a single name should have been. A black wound in the tapestry of existence. The sight made Jack's chest tighten, as if gravity itself had grown heavier. "What name was it?" Mara asked softly. The masked figure's voice grew lower, almost mournful. "Mine." The revelation struck like lightning. Jack blinked. "Wait, you're saying your own name was erased? How? You're literally the one writing them all." The figure's mask tilted downward. "I'm only what remains. The passage is alive because I gave it my name as its foundation. Now that name is gone, the structure falters. If it collapses, so does every story, every soul, every memory tied to this realm. Your world will follow." Promethy stepped closer, his voice steady but urgent. "Then we need to rewrite it. Restore your name." "Impossible," the figure said. "A name erased cannot return, but—" Their masked face turned toward Jack. "You carry something older than the passage itself." Jack held up the fragment. It's just a piece of some. It is the origin." The figure interrupted. "The first memory. The first spark of creation. With it, you may weave a new foundation. A new name to anchor this realm." Mara's eyes widened. "You want us to rewrite reality?" The figure's head inclined. "I want you to choose. But understand this, a new name carries a price. A sacrifice must be made. Someone must give themselves to the passage, binding their soul to it forever. Only then will it hold." The weight of their words sank heavy in the air. Jack felt his throat tighten. "So, someone dies?" "No," the figure said softly. "Not death. Something deeper. To become the passage is to cease being mortal, to forget who you are, yet remember all others. A fate beyond life or death." Promethe's expression hardened, though there was no fear in his eyes. "Then I know what must be done." Jack spun toward him. "No. You've been guarding this place for centuries already. You deserve freedom, not another prison." Promethy placed a hand on Jack's shoulder, his expression calm but resolute. "Jack, I've spent my existence remembering others so they would not be forgotten. If this is what it takes to protect you and the world beyond, then it is not a prison. It's my purpose." Mara's voice trembled. "There has to be another way." "There isn't," Promethy said firmly. "I can feel it. This is what I was meant for." The masked figure extended a hand, and the threads of light encircled Promethy. "Then step forward, keeper of names, speak your truth, and you shall become the spine of the passage." Jack clenched his fists, torn between rage and sorrow. Mara lowered her head, tears glinting in her eyes, but she said nothing. Promethy smiled softly at them both. "Remember me. That's all I ask." He stepped into the light, and the threads wrapped around him, cocooning him in radiance. The fragment in Jack's hand flared, resonating with the key, and the entire realm trembled. A new name was being written, a name not of power, but of sacrifice. The threads of light coiled tighter around Promethy, wrapping him in a cocoon that pulsed like a second heartbeat in the chamber. Each pulse sent waves of energy rippling outward, shaking the floor beneath their feet. The stars woven into the ground flickered, and the crystalline pillars above hummed in resonance. Jack shielded his face from the growing brightness. Promethy, don't do this. But Promethe's voice came, calm and unwavering, from within the cocoon of light. This is my choice, Jack. My life was always meant to serve memory, to preserve every soul, every story. Let me do this. For you. Mara stood still, her cane glowing in sympathy with the chamber's pulse, tears glimmering in her sharp eyes. Promethy, you will be forgotten? No. His voice echoed softly, carrying warmth even through the brilliance. I will be remembered in every name I hold. I will not vanish. I will become this place. The masked figure, the one who writes, raised their hand, and the cocoon cracked open like an egg of pure light. Threads of glowing script spilled out, winding around Promethe's form, weaving him into the starry floor and sky. His body dissolved into a million points of silver radiance, yet his face remained serene, his expression peaceful as if finally at rest. Then came his voice again. No longer bound by a single body, I am the keeper no more. I am the passage. The chamber roared with energy as the transformation completed. The cocoon burst into a spiral of threads that wrapped around the black void where the erased name had been. The void recoiled, shrank, and was finally sealed as a new name burned into existence, brighter than any other. Promethy. Jack stumbled back, gripping the fragment as tears welled in his eyes. You really did it. The masked figure lowered their head in reverence. He has done more than any mortal ever has. The passage has a new heart, one forged of choice and sacrifice. The crystalline pillars resonated like a celestial choir, their song filling the chamber. The walls shifted, and the glowing threads began to realign, forming a massive gateway at the far end of the realm. Mara wiped her tears, her jaw tightening with resolve. What's beyond that gate? The figure's voice echoed with gravity. The one who erased my name still lingers there. A will older than this realm, one who seeks to rewrite existence for themselves. You must confront them, or this sacrifice will mean nothing. Jack clenched his fists, staring at the gate. Then that's where we're going. The masked figure approached him, their robes trailing across the cosmic floor like smoke. Take this, they said, holding out a shard of radiant crystal, glowing with threads of every name in existence. It is the passage's memory. Promethy entrusted it to you. Jack accepted the shard reverently, feeling warmth and strength pulse through him. It wasn't just energy, he felt voices, lives, stories flooding into him, and Promethe's calm presence among them, steady as a guiding star. I'm with you. Jack, the voice in his mind was unmistakable, soft but firm. Jack exhaled sharply, tears threatening again. All right. Let's finish this. Mara stepped beside him, her blue-lit cane gleaming with newfound intensity. You're not alone. The masked figure turned toward the towering gate, their voice now softer, tinged with something like pride. Few ever pass beyond this point. Fewer return. Remember this, the one you face will not be bound by fear or desire. They have already given up everything for power. You will need more than strength to prevail. Jack nodded. We've got something better. The gate slowly swung open with a sound like the tearing of silk, revealing a swirling vortex of crimson and gold light. Beyond it was a dark horizon filled with jagged shapes, towers that pierced the sky, and a storm of energy swirling overhead. A faint, ominous hum resonated from the other side, a sound that felt alive and watching. Mara adjusted her cloak, her eyes scanning the gateway. Feels like it's daring us to step through. Jack smirked faintly. Then let's not keep it waiting. They crossed the threshold. The air on the other side was heavier, thick with a strange energy that felt almost sentient. The ground beneath them was made of black obsidian etched with crimson veins of light. Towering structures of bone-like stone and shadowy crystal loomed around them, and high above, A swirling storm of dark clouds flashed with bursts of violet lightning. At the center of this twisted realm stood a colossal throne, larger than any building Jack had ever seen. Seated upon it was a figure cloaked in a mantle of pure shadow, their face hidden behind a mask of polished gold etched with runes that glowed faintly. Their presence was suffocating, filling the entire space with an aura of command and inevitability. Jack tightened his grip on the fragment. "That's them, isn't it?" Murat's voice was low, almost a whisper. "The Eraser. The one who destroyed the first name." The figure stirred, their golden mask reflecting the storm overhead. When they spoke, their voice was calm but carried an edge that chilled Jack to the bone. "You've come far," the Eraser said, their tone almost admiring. "And yet you stand before me holding a shard of what I destroyed. A foolish rebellion carried on the backs of ghosts." Jack stepped forward. "Prometheus wasn't a ghost. He's the reason this realm still stands." The Eraser tilted their head. "Ah, sacrifice. How quaint." Lightning split the sky behind them, illuminating the vast throne and the army of shadowy forms that stirred in the darkness beyond. "Come then," the Eraser said softly, rising from their throne. "Let us see if your defiance can stand against eternity." The storm above roared as the figure raised their hands, and the ground trembled violently. The final battle was about to begin.